July 8, 1997. Norfolk County District Attorney's Office, Massachusetts. A 19-year-old sits in a room with prosecutors, her parents beside her. 10 weeks of investigation behind them. The prosecutors have spent 10 weeks building a case. They have witness statements. They have a timeline. They have corroborating evidence from neighbors, from friends, from people who saw things they wish they hadn't. But they don't have the one thing that matters. Her testimony. She looks at them, at her parents, at the door. No. The room goes silent. District Attorney Jeffrey Locke closes the file. Without the willing involvement of the victim, there's no basis to proceed with prosecution. Case dismissed. A Kennedy walks free. Who is she? The babysitter. 7 years with the Kennedy children. Daughter of wealthy neighbors' friends. Not employees. The girl everyone in Cohasset trusted. Who is he, Michael Kennedy? Son of Robert F. Kennedy. Harvard lawyer. Chairman of Citizens Energy Corporation. The man who brought heating oil to hundreds of thousands of poor families. The philanthropist. The activist. The prosecutors close their notebooks. Whatever Michael Kennedy did. It stays buried. 6 months later, December 31st, 1997. New Year's Eve, Aspen Mountain, Colorado, 4:15 p.m. Michael Kennedy is skiing. Fast, laughing, playing football on skis, Kennedy family tradition. Ski downhill at speed. Someone throws you the ball. Turn around backward. Catch it. Don't hit a tree. Yesterday, Ski Patrol called his mother. Stop playing this game. It's too dangerous. Someone's going to die. The Kennedys promised. Of course. We understand. We'll stop. Michael Kennedy is not stopping. He's 39 years old. No helmet. Turning backward to catch. Grinning. His sister Rory nearby. His whole family watching. He turns. He reaches. He catches. 4:19 p.m. tree. Head first. 5:50 p.m. Aspen Valley Hospital. Doctor. William Rodman shakes his head. Michael Kennedy is dead. 6 months between a girl saying no and a man who couldn't stop. 6 months between escaping consequences and facing one he couldn't escape. But the real question wasn't how he died. It was what he thought he could survive. For months. I tried to understand those 6 months. I grew up believing charity made a man clean. I don't believe that anymore. What did Michael Kennedy do that made a 19-year-old choose silence over justice? Why did 3 people who loved him try to stop him and fail? What was destroyed that we'll never get back? The answers took me back 40 years, to a 5-year-old boy watching his uncle's funeral on television, to a family where violence was love and service was redemption, to the moment when doing good became permission to do wrong. This is what I found. Chapter 1. The Child Who Inherited the Curse. February 27, 1958, Washington, D.C. A boy is born to Robert F. Hayes, Kennedy and Ethel Skakel. Kennedy, their 6th child. They name him Michael Lemoyne Kennedy. The middle name honors Kirk Lemoyne Billings, Lem Billings. John F. Kennedy's prep school roommate, JFK's closest friend, the man who would become part of the Kennedy family. Michael is born into the Kennedy family at the height of its power. His uncle Jack is a senator preparing to run for president. His father Bobby is chief counsel to the Senate Rackets Committee, prosecuting mobsters and corrupt union bosses. The family is ascending. The name means something. Michael Lemoyne Kennedy arrives into a world that expects greatness simply because of his name. He has done nothing yet. He is hours old, but he is already a Kennedy. And in 1958, that means everything. The family splits time between 2 estates. Summer at Hyannisport, Massachusetts. The rest of the year at Hickory Hill in McLean, Virginia. Hickory Hill is private now, but records describe it clearly. 6 acres, white colonial mansion, swimming pool, tennis court, endless lawn. The estate that served as General George McClellan's headquarters during the Civil War. Robert Kennedy bought it from his brother Jack in 1956. Some accounts say 57 after Jackie's miscarriage made the house unbearable for them. Bobby and Ethel moved in and filled it with children, 11 eventually, plus cousins, plus friends, plus animals everywhere, dogs, ponies, a seal in the swimming pool at one point. Accounts from people who grew up around the Kennedys describe the same scene: touch football on the lawn. Not casual, brutal, physical. You go out for a pass. You fly. Someone hits you. You get up. You don't complain. Complaining is weakness. Gerald Tremblay, who grew up with the Kennedy children, later said the whole idea was to relax in a violent fashion. Relax in a violent fashion. Violence as relaxation. Competition as love. Winning as proof you deserve to be there. This is what Michael learns from birth: attention must be earned. Love must be won. Your place is never guaranteed. You compete or you disappear. This lesson will follow him for 39 years. November 22, 1963, Hickory Hill. A 5-year-old boy is watching history swallow his family. Dallas, Texas, 12:30 p.m. Central Time. President John F. Kennedy is shot in an open motorcade through Dealey Plaza. The limousine speeds to Parkland Hospital, 1 p.m. John Fitzgerald Kennedy is pronounced dead. Age 46. Ethel Kennedy gathers the children, tells them their uncle is dead. Michael doesn't fully understand, but he sees his mother's face, hears the adults crying, knows something has broken. 3 days later, he watches the funeral on television. The horse-drawn caisson, the riderless horse, boots reversed in the stirrups, Jackie Kennedy in black, holding Carolyn and John Jr.'s hands, John saluting as the coffin passes. The drums, the silence, the cameras are everywhere, millions watching. In this family, grief is never private. It becomes a national broadcast. First lesson: Kennedy deaths are public. Kennedy grief is performed. Everyone watches, always. But the first death would only wound him. The second would program him. June 5th, 1968. Past midnight, Ambassador Hotel, Los Angeles. Robert F. Kennedy wins the California Democratic primary. He is running for president. The path is opening. RFK gives his victory speech. Thanks, supporters. Says, on to Chicago, and let's win there. Flashes the peace sign. He is 42 years old. Ethel is pregnant with their 11th child. The future is happening. He exits through the hotel kitchen. A shortcut. The crowd presses close. Sirhan steps forward. Fires a .22 caliber revolver. 8 shots. RFK is hit 3 times. He falls critically wounded. Ethel pushes through, kneels beside him. He is conscious. Someone asks if he is okay. Witnesses recall him asking if everyone else was all right. 26 hours later, June 6th, 1968, 1:44 a.m. Robert Francis Kennedy dies, age 42. Ethel Kennedy is 40 years old, pregnant with their 11th child, widowed. Michael is 10 when the phone rings, when his mother returns from Los Angeles, when the world collapses again. June 8th, 1968. St. Patrick's Cathedral in New York. The funeral. Michael attends with his siblings, 10 children, the 11th not yet born, dark suits and dresses, front pew, cameras on them. Again, Senator Edward Kennedy delivers the eulogy. Uncle Ted, the last Kennedy brother. He speaks about Bobby's commitment to justice, his love for his children. Some men see things as they are and say why. I dream things that never were and say why not. The Kennedy children sit perfectly still, unnaturally composed, in that family. Public composure is the rule, after the funeral. A train carries RFK's body to Washington, to Arlington National Cemetery, to be buried near his brother Jack. The train moves slowly, over 200 miles, 8 hours. Crowds line the entire route. Hundreds of thousands of people, standing in silence, holding signs, saluting, weeping. Michael looks out the train window, sees them all, the people who loved his father, who expected his father to save them, who are now watching his father's children, expecting them to continue the work. Prove the name means something. Second lesson, Kennedys die violently. Kennedys die young. Kennedys die for something larger. And when they die, everyone watches. The expectation continues. The name does not die with the man. At 10, the world has already taught him its rules. 2 assassinations witnessed, both public, both televised, both transforming private loss into national spectacle. He has no father now, a widowed mother with 11 children, a famous name, enormous wealth, public expectation, but no instruction. No one tells him what to do with it. His father is gone, Uncle Jack is gone, Uncle Ted is drowning in scandal, Chappaquiddick will happen within a year. There is no model. Michael inherits wealth, name, obligation, trauma, expectation. He inherits the question every Kennedy child must answer. What do you do with a name you didn't earn? How do you prove you deserve what was given at birth? The answer forms in a boy standing at his father's grave. If the Kennedy name is a curse, if it brings death and cameras and grief, maybe service can lift it. Maybe helping others can justify the inheritance. Maybe charity can prove worthiness. That logic service as repayment becomes his armor. Service as redemption, good works as payment, helping the poor as proof you deserve to be rich. For 29 years, this belief will shape everything he does, until it fails him completely. Michael Kennedy will spend those 29 years doing everything right. Harvard, law school, Citizens Energy delivering heating oil to hundreds of thousands of families. By the organization's account, fighting gun violence, building universities, serving tirelessly. He will do everything right, except one thing, and that one thing will cost more than all the good works can balance. Next, I needed to understand how service became a shield, how charity became permission, how a man helping hundreds of thousands could exploit the one person who trusted him most. That story begins in Cohasset, Massachusetts, with a Victorian house overlooking the Atlantic and a neighbor's daughter who babysat his children.
Chapter 2. The Shield of Service. On paper, Michael Kennedy did everything right. I've learned that resumes don't reveal a man. Pressure does. Biographical records show Harvard College. Class of 1980, Virginia Law School, 1984. Massachusetts Bar Admission, 1985. The trajectory is textbook. Kennedy sons go to Harvard. Kennedy sons become lawyers. Kennedy sons serve. But beneath the perfect resume, I kept finding cracks. March 14th, 1981, Michael marries Victoria Denise Gifford in New York City. She's the daughter of Frank Gifford, NFL legend, New York Giants Hall of Famer, Monday Night Football icon, one of the most famous sportscasters in America, 2 famous families joining. Kennedy political dynasty meets Gifford athletic royalty. They settle in Cohasset, Massachusetts, a coastal town south of Boston. Wealthy, quiet. They buy a Victorian house overlooking the Atlantic. 3 stories, wrap-around porch, water views. 3 children arrive quickly. Michael Jr., 1983. Kyle, 1984. Rory, 1987. 3 children in 4 years. From the outside, everything looks perfect. Harvard-educated lawyer, beautiful wife from famous family. 3 healthy children. Victorian house overlooking ocean. Michael is 29 years old. He has done everything right. Now he needs to prove he deserves it. 1986. Michael's older brother, Joseph Patrick Kennedy II, is elected to Congress, Massachusetts' 8th District. Joe is going to Washington. 7 years earlier, Joe founded Citizens Energy Corporation, a non-profit providing discounted heating oil to low-income families in Massachusetts. The model: negotiate bulk purchases, sell to the poor at reduced prices, use margins to fund other charitable programs. The scale was massive. By 1984, Citizens Energy had helped 250,000 families, according to the organization, with heating costs. The organization traded billions in petroleum and natural gas. When Joe goes to Congress, "Someone needs to run Citizens Energy," Joe asks Michael. Michael becomes chairman in 1986.
Age 28, just past the bar, never run a major organization. But he has the Kennedy name, and he throws himself into the work. 1986, Citizens Energy launches Citizens Medical, mail-order pharmaceuticals. Negotiate directly with manufacturers. Cut middlemen, reduce prescription costs by an estimated 40%. Serve people who cannot afford medications. By the mid-1990s, Citizens Medical becomes one of America's largest mail-order prescription brokers. $90 million in annual sales. Per tax filings, hundreds of thousands of customers. Medications delivered at prices people can afford. Profits do not go to shareholders. There are no shareholders. Citizens Energy is non-profit. Profits go back to the poor. More heating oil, more medications, more relief. Michael expands internationally. Medical supplies to Congo, to Angola, war-torn countries where people die from lack of basic medicine. In Angola, Michael befriends Cardinal Dom Alexandre do Nascimento. Together they envision a Catholic university in Luanda, a place where Angolan students can receive higher education without leaving the country. Michael helps establish it. The Catholic University of Angola will open in 1999, 2 years after his death. 1994. Michael co-founds Stop Handgun Violence, a Massachusetts organization advocating gun control, billboard campaigns, legislative lobbying, public awareness. After his father's assassination by handgun, his uncle's by rifle, Michael fights to make guns harder to obtain. 1994. Uncle Ted Kennedy faces re-election. His opponent is Mitt Romney. The race is competitive. Michael manages Ted's campaign. Ted wins. The work is real, the impact measurable. Service matters. By 1997, Michael has run Citizens Energy 11 years, helped hundreds of thousands afford heating oil. The organization reported, delivered medications to those who could not otherwise afford them, built a university in Africa, fought gun violence, managed successful campaigns. He is doing exactly what Kennedy's sons are supposed to do. He is serving, he is proving he deserves the name. But I kept finding a question no one wanted to answer. Michael Kennedy's Citizens Energy salary from 1986 to 1997 is not publicly available. Tax forms from that era are not digitized, not accessible online. Records exist somewhere, but finding them requires digging through paper archives most cannot access. Context exists. Years later. 2012. Brother Joe returns as CEO. That year's tax filings show Joe earned $796,000. His wife earned $344,000. Total family compensation over $1 million annually. Was Michael compensated similarly? Was he living modestly? Taking minimal salary or earning generously while serving the poor, the records are sealed. The question remains unanswered. But it matters, because service can become something other than charity. Service can become justification. Service can become permission if you help enough people. Maybe the rules do not apply if you do enough good. Maybe the bad does not count. Service becomes a shield. Good works become cover. Charity becomes license. That belief service as redemption starts to evolve into something else. In Cohasset, Michael and Victoria befriend neighbors. Their names are Paul and June Verocci. Paul Verocci is self-made, not inherited wealth. Built it himself. Founded American Medical Response Incorporated, AMR, America's largest private ambulance service. Paul serves as chairman and CEO. Later, he co-founds Coach USA Incorporated, Motor Coach Empire. Dozens of bus companies consolidated. Paul is an entrepreneur, Kennedy campaign contributor, prominent Massachusetts business figure. He moves in the same social circles as the Kennedys not because of name, but because of what he built. The Verocchis are wealthy. Multiple homes, Cohasset Estate, Boston Pied-à-Terre on Garrison Street. Time magazine would later report the family employed a uniformed chauffeur. The Verocchis weren't Kennedy employees or hangers-on. They were social equals who'd built their own wealth. Paul and June Verocchi are social equals. Wealthy neighbors, friends, families grow close. Dinners together, parties, vacations. The Verrochis know Victoria, know the Kennedy children, are welcomed into the family orbit. The families trust each other completely. Paul and June have a daughter. For 27 years, her identity was protected. She was the babysitter. The girl, the 19-year-old. In late 2024, Michael Skakel, Kennedy cousin, gave an interview to an NBC podcast. He named her Marissa Verrochi. Despite family wealth, despite the Verrochis affording any childcare, Marissa babysits for the Kennedy children. She starts around middle school age, 12 or 13. She babysits for 7 years. The Kennedy children are young. Michael Jr., born 83. Kyle, 84. Rory, 87. They need supervision when Michael and Victoria go out. Marissa is there, trusted, known, part of the extended family circle. A Cohasset resident later told Time magazine something that now sounds different. The two families were such good friends that Michael Kennedy would call her parents and say they were going to be out late and that she should just sleep over. Sleepovers. The Kennedy house. Victorian overlooking the Atlantic. Michael and Victoria are out late. Marissa staying overnight. 7 years of this. 7 years of babysitting. 7 years of sleepovers. 7 years of trust built between two wealthy families who considered each other equals, who had no reason to suspect anything. That trust would turn into the Verrochis' worst nightmare. 1986 to 1997. 11 years running, Citizens Energy. 11 years of good works, helping hundreds of thousands afford heating oil by the organization's account, delivering medications to people dying without them, building universities in war-torn countries, fighting gun violence, 11 years of service, 11 years proving he deserves the Kennedy name, 11 years building the armor, the protection, the story he tells himself about who he is. But beneath the service, something else is growing, something hidden, something that will cost more than money can measure. It took me months to find people willing to talk about what happened next. Victoria wouldn't speak. The Verrochis refused all interviews. Most of Cohasset stayed silent. But court records exist. Neighbors saw things. And one cousin, Michael Skakel, finally broke his silence in 2024. Court records, neighbor accounts. And Skakel's 2024 interview revealed the pattern. 3 people confronted Michael Kennedy. 3 people tried to stop him. 3 people failed. And understanding why they failed, why a wife, why parents, why a cousin couldn't stop what was happening, that's where the story gets dark. Chapter 3. 3 Confrontations. Victoria found them first. Then the Verrochis discovered the letters. Finally, Michael Skakel confronted him directly. None of them could stop what was happening. Confrontation 1 Victoria, January 1995. Cohasset, Massachusetts. The Victorian house overlooking the Atlantic. Michael and Victoria Kennedy's home for 14 years, where their 3 children grew up, where family dinners happened, where Christmas mornings unfolded, where everything looked perfect from the outside. Victoria Kennedy opens her bedroom door. What she sees, according to multiple accounts pieced together from court filings and interviews, is her husband and their children's babysitter, together, in a situation that should never have happened. The girl Victoria has known since middle school. The girl she trusted with 3 children, the girl who slept over countless times, the daughter of their friends Paul and June Verrochi. Marissa, Victoria has known her since she was 12. Michael's response. According to sources, he blames alcohol. Victoria does not leave immediately. She stays. January 1995. February, March, April, summer, fall, winter, 1996. Spring, summer, fall, winter, 1997, January, February, March, April, 2 years. Victoria Kennedy stays for 2 years. I kept asking why the Kennedys had taught her how. Lawrence Lima wrote in The Kennedy Women about Rose Kennedy and her husband Joseph. Joe Kennedy had an affair with Gloria Swanson, the movie star. The affair was not hidden. Joe stuck Gloria Swanson in Rose's face so close she could see the pores. Rose acted oblivious. The rule in the Kennedy family, as long as nothing is said, life could go on as before. Jackie Kennedy knew about Marilyn Monroe. Everyone knew. Jackie said nothing publicly, maintained the marriage, smiled for cameras, raised the children. Ethel Kennedy knew about Bobby's affairs, multiple women over the years. Ethel said nothing, stayed, had 11 children, became the grieving widow when Bobby was shot. Time magazine would later write, Victoria seemed to ignore swirling rumors, which is apparently family tradition. Victoria stays because this is what Kennedy wives do. Silent wives, public marriages, private pain. But staying has a cost. Victoria is paying it. Every day in that house, every meal at that table, every night in that bed. The house still functions as family home. Meals are eaten. Children live there. Appearance is maintained. This is the power of compartmentalization. Michael Kennedy lives in the same house where Victoria discovered him, eats breakfast with children he betrayed, runs Citizens Energy from the same desk, helps thousands of families while destroying his own. The armor still holds. Service provides shield. Good works purchase permission. The Kennedy name is armor, but pressure is building. Next confrontation, the Verrochis. Summer 1996. 2 years after Victoria's discovery. Multiple sources indicated the relationship continued. Neighbors in Cohasset see Michael Kennedy and the teenage girl together, meeting around town, not hiding, seen in public. Neighbors tell Paul Verrochi. Paul Verrochi, self-made millionaire. Man who founded America's largest private ambulance service. Man who considered Michael Kennedy a friend. Man who trusted Michael with his daughter for 7 years. Paul confronts his daughter. She breaks down, tells him everything. Paul and June Verrochi search their daughter's room. They find something, love letters, written by Michael Kennedy to their daughter. Letters that could establish a timeline, could prove when the relationship began, could answer questions prosecutors would later ask. This is the evidence, physical proof, documentary record, the thing that could hold Michael Kennedy accountable. The Verrochis do not go to police. Not yet. They are trying to protect their daughter, trying to end this quietly, trying to preserve some dignity. They give the letters to someone they think they can trust. Michael Skakel, Kennedy cousin, Ethel Kennedy's nephew, someone inside the family, someone who might be able to stop this. Skakel takes the letters to Victoria Kennedy. Victoria already knows about the affair. She discovered it in January 1995. But now she has evidence, physical proof, something that could force Michael to choose, something that could end this. Victoria gives the letters to Michael, her last attempt. Use the evidence to force him to stop, make him see what he is doing, make him choose his family. Michael takes the letters. Michael destroys them. He burns them, tears them, whatever he does. They are gone, the evidence that could prove when it started destroyed. The evidence that could show what was said destroyed. The evidence that could answer questions destroyed. Destroyed by the man who should have been held accountable. November 1996, 32 Garrison Street, Boston, the Verrochis pied-à-terre in the city. Boston Police and Fire Department respond to a call. Someone on a roof needing help. They arrive. Find June Verrochi on the roof. Wandering, disoriented, not coherent. Her daughter tells rescuers, "My mother is off her medication." Police rule it a mental health crisis, but will not elaborate on what happened. The Boston Herald later reported why June Verrochi was in crisis. She had just learned the affair she thought ended was still continuing. September 1996. Marisa Verrochi entered Boston University, age 18, left home, went to college. June thought it was over, thought distance would end it, thought her daughter was safe now, according to reports. It was not over. Michael Kennedy was visiting Marissa at her apartment, calling her, pursuing her. The relationship June thought ended when her daughter went to college was continuing. A mother stands on a roof in Boston because a man she trusted destroyed her family. a mother who welcomed Michael Kennedy into her home, who let her daughter babysit his children, who considered the Kennedys friends. The cost is not just the girl, the cost is the entire Verocci family. Paul's betrayed friendship, June's mental health, the family's peace, the trust that can never be rebuilt. September 1996. Marisa Verocci is 18 years old, a freshman at Boston University. By multiple accounts, she ended the relationship. Michael Kennedy does not stop, visits her apartment, calls repeatedly, pursues her. She refuses, refuses again, refuses again. By late fall, he apparently stops trying, but the damage is permanent. Confrontation 3. Michael Skakil. Michael Skakul is Michael Kennedy's cousin, son of Ethel Kennedy's brother. He has his own history: addiction, recovery, struggle, years of trying to get his life together. When Victoria first discovered the affair in January 1995, Skakul recommended Father Martin Ashley Rehab Center in Maryland. Treatment for sex addiction. Michael went 1996. It did not work. 1997. Skakul confronts Michael directly. "Leave her alone." Michael Kennedy's response. According to Skakul's 2024 NBC interview, "Go after her and her father in the press." Michael wants Skakul to attack the Veroccis publicly, discredit them, destroy their reputation, make them the villains, make them the problem, shift blame, shift focus, make this about them instead of about what Michael did. Skakul refuses. Michael Kennedy's response: "You're off the reservation." Retaliation is immediate. Michael deactivates Skakul's Citizens Energy Office keys, deactivates his corporate credit card, cuts him off from the organization, cuts him off from the family. When confronted with accountability, Michael Kennedy does not feel remorse. He feels betrayed. The public Kennedy activist, philanthropist, Citizens Energy chairman, man who helps the poor and the private predator can no longer be separated. The compartmentalization breaks down. Service was never redemption. It was permission. It was armor. It was the story he told himself to justify taking what he wanted when someone threatened to expose the lie. Michael attacked when forced to choose between accountability and control. Michael chose attack. The shield has failed. April 25, 1997. The Boston Globe publishes a story. The story emerges from Michael's own family. His brother Joseph is getting divorced. Wife Sheila Rauch Kennedy is fighting the annulment. Her lawyers are subpoenaing witnesses, including the babysitter. Questions are asked. Truth comes out. April 25, 1997. The Boston Globe publishes. Michael and Victoria issue a statement. They are separating. District Attorney Jeffrey Locke opens an investigation. 10 weeks. April to July 1997. Massachusetts law is clear. If there was sexual contact before age 16, it is statutory rape, a felony. The question is, when did it start? Michael Kennedy takes 3 polygraph tests arranged by his attorneys. He passes them all, claims no sexual contact until she was 16, but the destroyed letters, the evidence that could prove or disprove his claim, no longer exist. July 8th, 1997. Norfolk County District Attorney's Office. Marisa Verocci is 19 years old now, a college sophomore. She sits across from prosecutors. They need her testimony. They need her to tell them when it started. She says no. Her family refuses to cooperate. District Attorney Locke. Without the willing involvement of the victim, there is no basis to proceed with prosecution. Investigation closes. No charges. Case dismissed. Michael Kennedy issues a statement. "I hope that in time the babysitter's family will forgive me. I also hope my wife and children will forgive me." John F. Kennedy Jr. publishes an editorial in George magazine, calling his cousin Michael and brother Joseph poster boys for bad behavior. The armor has failed. His charity cannot protect him. The Kennedy name is liability now, not legacy. September 1997. This is the moment. This is the shift. Victoria Kennedy moves out of the Cohasset house, takes the 3 children with her. Michael Jr. is 14, Kyle is 13, Rory is 10. She moves to Milton, Massachusetts. Michael stays in the Cohasset house, alone. Says he is staying to maintain stability. The house transforms. Before family sanctuary. Home where children grew up. Proof of successful Kennedy marriage. Place where Christmas mornings happened. Where birthday parties were thrown. Where Victoria and Michael built a life together. After crime scene. Place Victoria discovered him. Place the babysitter slept over. Place where good works could not balance bad acts. Place where service could not purchase redemption. Michael Kennedy lives alone. September, October, November. 3 months. The Victorian overlooking the Atlantic becomes an isolation chamber. A prison of his own making. The armor has shattered. Service cannot save him. The shield is gone. He is alone with what he has done. November 28, 1997. A judge grants the divorce. Massachusetts law requires a 90-day waiting period before divorce becomes final, but it is granted. December 1997. The divorce agreement gives Michael sole ownership of the house. He owns it alone for exactly 33 days. Victoria caught him, he blamed alcohol. The Verrocchis found letters, he destroyed them. Skakel confronted him. He attacked back. 3 chances to stop. 3 failures. He has escaped everything. Prosecution, accountability, judgment. December 1997. Michael Kennedy goes to Aspen with his family. The Kennedy family has been going to Aspen since 1962. I kept asking the same question if he escaped all of that, Victoria. The Verrocchis. Skakel. The prosecutors, why would a ski patrol warning stop him? The answer is in 40 years of learning that warnings are for other people. Chapter 4. The tree doesn't move. The Kennedy family has been skiing in Aspen since at least 1962. Robert F. Kennedy brought his children here. Ted Kennedy skied these mountains. 35 years later. The 3rd generation continues the tradition. December 1997. Ethel Kennedy is here. 69 years old. The matriarch. Several of her 11 children are here. Grandchildren, extended family. The Kennedys gather for Christmas and New Year's in Aspen the way other families gather around dinner tables. Michael Kennedy is here, but he is alone. Victoria is not here. His 3 children are not here. They are in Milton, Massachusetts, with their mother. Michael is here with the extended family, with his mother, with siblings, with cousins. The divorce was granted 33 days ago, November 28th, but Massachusetts law requires a 90-day waiting period. The divorce will not be final for 57 more days. Legal limbo, legally still married, practically alone. Football on skis, a Kennedy family tradition for years. The rules are simple. Ski fast down the mountain, someone throws a football or a snow-packed water bottle. You turn around while moving. You catch it. You try not to hit a tree. It is extraordinarily dangerous. Fast skiing requires attention. Catching requires looking backward while moving forward at high speed. Trees everywhere. Divided attention. Split focus. Everything that can go wrong concentrated into one activity. Aspen Ski Patrol knows about the game, has warned the Kennedys before. Knows this family plays it every year. Knows someone will get hurt eventually. December 30th, 1997. The day before the accident, Aspen Skiing Company officials call Ethel Kennedy directly. Ask the family to stop playing football on skis. Too dangerous. Someone will get hurt. Please stop. The family says yes. Of course, we understand. We will stop. This is not the first warning. Ski Patrol has warned them before. Every year, the same conversation. Every year, the family says yes. Every year, they play anyway. This is not recklessness to them. This is identity. Kennedys play the game. Kennedys compete. Kennedys push boundaries. Kennedys do not stop. Gerald Tremblay said it about Hickory Hill. The whole idea was to relax in a violent fashion. That culture shaped Michael as a child. Competitive violence as love. Pushing limits as proof of worthiness. Never stopping as proof you belong. That culture now shapes how Michael approaches consequences. Warnings are for other people. Rules are for those who have not earned the right to break them. I studied Michael Kennedy's family history. What I found was a pattern. His grandfather Joe bootlegged during Prohibition, made millions breaking the law, later became ambassador to the United Kingdom. His uncle Jack had affairs throughout his presidency, in the White House, with movie stars, with staffers, became a legend anyway. His father Bobby authorized wiretaps on Martin Luther King Jr., invaded privacy of civil rights leaders, became a martyr for justice. His uncle Ted drove off a bridge at Chappaquiddick, left Mary Jo Kopechne to drown, remained in the Senate for 4 more decades, and 6 months ago, Michael himself escaped prosecution for statutory rape. Why would a ski patrol warning stop him December 31st, 1997, New Year's Eve? The Kennedy family eats dinner at Sundeck Restaurant on Aspen Mountain. They wait for the slopes to clear. Fewer people means more space. More space means better conditions for the game. Around 4:15 p.m. they begin Copper Bowl Run. Intermediate difficulty. Late afternoon. Shadows growing. Sun setting behind the peaks. Snow slick. Temperature dropping. They ski fast. Someone throws a snow-packed water bottle. Michael has a handheld camera, films himself skiing, catching passes, having fun. Scott Womack is skiing nearby. Another skier on the mountain. He watches the Kennedys play their game. Later, he tells reporters they were just out having a fun time. They'd bump into each other, but it wasn't like hard. They were laughing. From outside. It looks like family recreation, a famous family playing together. No indication of tragedy. Just people skiing, just people having fun. Curry Hay is a Kennedy family friend. He is skiing with them. He watches Michael Kennedy receive a pass. Watches him ski downhill. Watches him turn around to catch the water bottle. Hay later describes what he saw. He skis off. He turns around to get a pass. He slams into a tree head first. He falls down unconscious. One moment Michael is laughing, playing, catching, moving fast, smiling, having fun with family on New Year's Eve in Aspen. Next moment, he is unconscious in the snow. Rory Kennedy is Michael's younger sister, born 6 months after their father's assassination, December 1968. She never knew their father. Michael did. Michael was 10 when Bobby died. Rory was born into the grief. She is skiing nearby. Reaches Michael first. He is not breathing. She performs mouth-to-mouth resuscitation, breathing for him, trying to bring him back, trying to save him. She's trying to save him the way no one could save their father 29 years ago, the way no one could save Uncle Jack 34 years ago, the way Kennedy children always try to save each other and always fail. 4:19 p.m. 4 minutes after the emergency call, Aspen Ski Patrol Medical Coordinator Michael Ferrara arrives on scene. He finds 15 to 20 people gathered around, calling for help, one person performing CPR. Michael Kennedy is unconscious, severe head injury, not breathing on his own. Ski Patrol takes over. Spinal immobilization, cardiac care, respiratory support. They work quickly, efficiently. They have done this before, not with Kennedys, but with skiers, with head injuries, with people who hit trees. They load Michael onto a toboggan, begin the descent. Darkness is falling, temperature dropping. They move as fast as they can while maintaining stability. Halfway down the mountain, they lose his pulse. He is dying, right there on the mountain, in the toboggan, being carried down. They administer CPR. Keep moving. Do not stop. Compressions while descending. Breathing while sliding. Everything possible while racing against time. They reach the base. Load him into an ambulance. In the ambulance, his pulse returns. He's alive. Still unconscious. Still dying, but alive. heart beating, blood moving, lungs filling with help. They arrive at Aspen Valley Hospital, 5:50 p.m., 1 hour and 35 minutes after the accident. Doctor William Rodman pronounces Michael Kennedy dead. Cause of death, fatal head and neck injuries from the impact. Between 4:15 and 5:50. Everything possible was tried. It was not enough. Later, the toxicology reports arrive. Standard procedure for sudden death. Screen for substances. Alcohol, amphetamines, barbiturates, marijuana, cocaine, opioids, everything that might impair judgment or explain recklessness. All negative. Nothing detected. Michael Kennedy died with nothing in his system except recklessness. Not drunk, not high, not impaired by any substance. Simply playing a game he was told not to play, without a helmet, without safety equipment, without accepting that warnings applied to him. I tried to understand what 6 months of escaping consequences does to someone. July 8th. Investigation closed. No prosecution. Marisa Verocci refused to testify. The marriage ended. Divorce granted November the 28th. But the family still invited him to Aspen in December. Citizens Energy was still operational. He was still chairman. Public life was continuing. He escaped accountability at every level. Legal, familial, professional, social. I tracked how it evolved over 39 years. At 10, watching his father's funeral train, Michael learned that service might justify his inheritance if he helped enough people. Maybe he deserved what he was born into. In adulthood, that belief became armor. Service purchased immunity. Good works balanced bad acts. I run Citizens Energy, therefore I can do what I want. I help the poor, therefore I am good. When confronted, the armor cracked. Victoria discovered him, he didn't apologize. He blamed alcohol. The Verocchis found letters, he didn't confess. He destroyed evidence. Skakul refused to help. Michael didn't feel remorse. He attacked. When forced to choose between accountability and control, he chose attack. By December, after escaping prosecution, the dissociation was complete. Rules didn't apply. Investigation closed. Charges dropped. Divorce granted. Family still invited him to Aspen. I have escaped everything. Why would a tree stop me? By December, warnings stop sounding like warnings. They don't land. They don't stick. They pass through him like wind through an open hallway, not because he's brave, not even because he's reckless, because somewhere along the way, consequence stopped feeling personal. Other people hear a warning and slow down. He hears the same words and keeps moving. The ski patrol warning lands the same way everything else did. The investigators, the marriage collapsing, the parents begging, the cousin pleading, it all becomes the same sound. A voice in the background, a headline you scroll past, a rule meant for someone who isn't him, not a wall, not a stop sign, just noise. I can't prove what he told himself, but I can follow what he did next. But the tree on Copper Bowl Run is not impressed by Harvard degrees. The tree does not care about Citizens Energy, does not care about the heating oil delivered to hundreds of thousands of families, does not care about the medications sent to poor people, does not care about the university in Angola. The tree does not care about Robert F. Kennedy's legacy, does not care about the Kennedy name, does not care about anything Michael Kennedy accomplished or inherited or believed about himself. The tree does not move. Physics doesn't care about names. Gravity does not grant exceptions. Momentum does not recognize privilege. Mass times velocity equals force. Force applied to skull equals fracture. No appeals, no special treatment, no immunity. Michael Kennedy believed warnings did not apply to him. He believed consequences were for other people. He believed the Kennedy name purchased safety. He was wrong. Michael Kennedy dies December 31st, 1997, 39 years old. 6 months after escaping prosecution. 33 days after divorce granted. 1 week before a new year that will never come. The question is not how he died. The question is, what did he cost and who is still paying? Chapter 5. The Cost That Remains. November 28, 1997. A Massachusetts judge grants Victoria Gifford Kennedy a divorce from Michael Kennedy. 33 days later, Michael Kennedy dies on Aspen Mountain. Massachusetts law requires a 90-day waiting period before divorce becomes final. Michael died before the waiting period ended. The divorce wasn't final yet. On paper, she was still his wife. 3 children lose their father. Michael Jr. is 14 years old. Kyle is 13. Rory is 10. These are the ages that matter. The ages when a father dies and children must decide what to remember and what to forget. 1997 is also the year Victoria's father is exposed for infidelity. Frank Gifford, NFL legend, New York Giants Hall of Famer, Monday Night Football icon, married to Kathy Lee Gifford, America's sweetheart couple. A tabloid publishes photos. Hotel room, another woman. The betrayal is public, the humiliation complete. Victoria experiences 2 family betrayals in the same year. Her father and her husband, both exposed, both humiliated, both asking forgiveness, both men she trusted, both men who failed her. Victoria Gifford Kennedy never remarries. Nearly 3 decades later, as of 2024, she remains single. She has maintained dignified silence since 1997. No interviews about Michael, no tell-all book, no public statements beyond the initial separation announcement in April 1997. Her silence costs something too. She could answer questions. She knows the truth. She possesses perspective only she has. She was there when Michael blamed alcohol. She was there for the 2 years she stayed. She knows why she stayed. She knows what those 2 years cost her. She has chosen dignity over disclosure, privacy over profit, silence over vindication. This is her cost carrying the knowledge alone, forever. Paul Verocci is a self-made millionaire, founded American Medical Response, Coach USA, built empires from nothing, not a Kennedy hanger-on, not dependent on Kennedy favor, a social equal, a friend, a campaign contributor. He trusted Michael Kennedy with his daughter for 7 years. That trust was turned against them. Summer 1996. Neighbors told him. He confronted his daughter. She broke down. He and June searched, found love letters, tried to end it quietly, gave the letters to Michael Skakel, hoped for family intervention, hoped Michael would stop. Michael destroyed the letters. Paul Verocci's cost, betrayed friendship, destroyed trust, the knowledge that he allowed his daughter into a situation he never suspected, the knowledge that his friend, the man he welcomed into his home, the man he trusted completely, had betrayed that trust. June Verocci's cost is different. November 1996. Boston, 32 Garrison Street. The roof, police responding to a mental health emergency. Her cost, mental health crisis. Trust in reality shattered, the trauma of powerlessness. Learning the relationship she thought ended was continuing. Her daughter at college, not safe. Still pursued, still contacted. A mother's worst nightmare realized, and nothing she could do to stop it. Marisa Verocci's cost is the heaviest. 2024. NBC podcast about the Martha Moxley murder. Episode 9. Michael Skakel gives an interview for the first time publicly. He uses her name, Marisa Verocci, for 27 years. Her identity was protected. She was the babysitter, the girl, the 19-year-old. The media respected her privacy. Prosecutors kept her anonymous. Everyone who knew kept silent. Now she is named. But she still has not spoken. Silence protected everyone her privacy, her family's dignity, the Kennedy machine's survival. But silence also preserved the one thing no charity can erase: the unanswered timeline. No letters, no testimony, no trial, only damage carried in private, paid in years. And now the statute of limitations has expired. The law will not hear her. The system has closed. May 1998. 5 months after Michael's death, the Cohasset Victorian overlooking the Atlantic sells for $2.3 million. No Kennedy will ever live there again. But Citizens Energy continues. 1999. Joseph P. Kennedy II returns as chairman and president. Takes over the organization his younger brother ran for 11 years. Under Joseph, Citizens Energy expands. Renewable energy, solar farms, wind power, transmission lines, battery storage. The mission evolves, but the core remains: serve the poor. Reduce costs. Provide relief. 2024. Citizens Energy operates the largest low-income community solar project in the United States. Imperial Valley, California. Serves 12,000 households annually. Solar panels generating power for people who cannot afford traditional electricity rates since 1979. Citizens Energy has distributed over $600 million in charitable benefits. According to the organization, heating oil still warms homes, medications still reach patients, solar panels still generate power. The work Michael Kennedy began continues without him, his nephew Joseph III's son, also named Michael L. Kennedy is now Vice President of Business Development. The name continues, the mission continues, which raises the question I kept asking: can institutions redeem the men who built them? Michael Kennedy helped hundreds of thousands. By organizational records of families afford heating oil, helped establish a university in Angola, fought gun violence, managed successful political campaigns. District Attorney Jeffrey Locke investigated allegations of statutory rape. Michael denied any sexual contact before legal age. Passed 3 polygraph tests arranged by his attorneys. The victim refused to testify. The case was dismissed. Does charity balance allegations? Can charity outweigh investigations? Does institutional legacy erase what was reported? The institution survives. But survival is not the same as redemption. Citizens Energy still opens its doors every morning. The poor still receive assistance. Families still get heating oil at reduced prices. Solar panels still generate electricity, but some costs don't disappear with institutions. And one does not cancel the other. The heating oil does not make the allegations go away. The university does not erase the investigation. The solar panels do not resolve what was reported. Good works and serious allegations exist simultaneously. The question is not whether institutions can redeem men. The question is whether we let institutions obscure what was investigated. The Kennedy curse continues. July 16, 1999. 16 months after Michael Kennedy's death. John F. Kennedy Jr. crashes his plane into the Atlantic Ocean. Age 38. His wife Carolyn and her sister Lauren die with him. The cousin who wrote that editorial about poster boys for bad behavior dies the same way Michael did, piloting a vehicle he is not fully qualified to operate, in conditions he should not have been in, because warnings did not apply, because Kennedy men believe they are exceptional. May 16, 2012, Mary Richardson Kennedy, RFK Jr.'s wife, dies by suicide. Age 52, years of Kennedy family dysfunction, allegations of emotional abuse, isolation, despair. Another woman destroyed by proximity to Kennedy men. August 1st, 2019. Sersa Kennedy Hill. RFK's granddaughter dies of accidental drug overdose at the Kennedy compound. Age 22, April 2nd, 2020. Maeve Kennedy McKean, RFK's granddaughter, and her 8-year-old son Gideon die in a canoeing accident in Chesapeake Bay. Age 40. Chasing a ball that blew into the water. Could not get back. Drowned. The Kennedy curse is not mystical, not supernatural, not a curse in any magical sense. Many argue this is what happens when privilege meets pressure, when legacy demands performance, when service becomes protection, when warnings become irrelevant, when recklessness becomes identity, when consequences are delayed until they cannot be avoided. The Kennedy curse is the cost of believing you are exceptional. Michael Kennedy paid that cost. The family keeps paying. The love letters are destroyed. The evidence is gone. Prosecutors said they couldn't proceed without testimony. We will never know what investigations could have established. We will never know what Michael wrote in those letters. We will never know what was said in private. We will never know why Victoria stayed 2 years. We will never know what Michael thought during his final 3 months alone in that house in Cohasset. Did he feel remorse or betrayal? Did he know he was going to die that day in Aspen? Did he see the tree? Did he think in the final moment he could avoid it? These questions have no answers. Because Michael destroyed the letters. Because testimony was refused. Because some chose silence. Because the dead cannot speak. But this is what we know. Born February 27th, 1958. Witnessed 2 assassinations by age 10. Inherited wealth, name, expectation. Tried to earn the inheritance through service. Helped hundreds of thousands of families, according to reports. Built institutions that continue serving the poor. Investigated for statutory rape. Denied allegations. Victim refused to testify. Charges never filed. Died 6 months later playing a game he was told not to play. 39 years old. No helmet. Hit a tree. That is what we know. The damage is measurable. Victoria's 27 years of silence, the Verrochis' shattered trust, June's mental health crisis, Marissa's voice, still unheard. 3 children without a father, a cousin cut off for refusing to participate, but the true cost incalculable. You cannot measure trauma in dollars, cannot quantify silence, cannot calculate the price of questions that will never be answered. Because we cannot measure trauma in dollars, cannot quantify the cost of silence, cannot calculate the price of questions that will never be answered. Citizens' Energy still opens its doors every morning. Marissa Verrochi's silence still protects her. Victoria Gifford Kennedy still maintains her dignity. The tree that killed Michael Kennedy still stands on Aspen Mountain, and the questions I started with the questions that brought me to July 8th, 1997, to a 19-year-old saying no. To December 31st on Aspen Mountain, those questions remain. What was destroyed? More than love letters, more than evidence, more than one man's life. What was destroyed was the illusion that good works can purchase permission to avoid consequences. That service can be a shield instead of a responsibility. That any name means immunity instead of obligation. The symbols that remain. Vincent Astor carried his father's stopped watch for 47 years. The watch stopped at 2:20 a.m., April 15th, 1912. The moment the Titanic sank. The moment John Jacob Astor IV drowned in the North Atlantic. The moment everything changed for 13-year-old Vincent Astor. Vincent carried that watch every day for 47 years, felt its weight in his pocket. Physical reminder, tangible proof, evidence that time can stop, that a moment can end everything, that loss can be measured and marked and held. 2024. The watch sold at auction for $1.1 million, the highest price ever paid for Titanic memorabilia. Someone wanted to own that stopped moment, wanted to hold the thing that marked when time ended for one man and began differently for another. Michael Kennedy left no watch. Michael Kennedy left no talisman, no physical symbol capturing when everything changed, no artifact marking January 1995 when Victoria opened the bedroom door, no memento from November 1996 when June Verrochi stood on a Boston roof, no keepsake from July 8th. 1997 when Marissa said no to prosecutors. What Michael Kennedy left instead is absence of evidence, destroyed love letters, the silence of a 19-year-old who refused to testify, questions that cannot be answered because the answers were burned, proof that was eliminated, truth that was hidden, evidence that should have existed but does not. Vincent Astor's watch speaks through presence, the weight of it, the reality of it, the fact of it existing in the world as proof something happened. Michael Kennedy's legacy speaks through absence, through what is missing, through what should be there but is not, through the space where evidence used to be. One man carried proof of loss. The other destroyed proof of what was investigated, what remains May 1998, 5 months after his death. The Cohasset Victorian overlooking the Atlantic sells for $2.3 million. New owners, new family, new life in the rooms where the Kennedy children grew up, where Victoria discovered him, where Michael lived alone for 3 months after his wife left. Citizens Energy continues its work, over $600 million distributed in charitable benefits since 1979, according to the organization. Heating oil, warming homes, medications reaching patients, solar panels generating electricity. The mission continues without the man who ran it for 11 years. Victoria Gifford Kennedy never remarried. 27 years of dignified silence. No interviews, no books, no public revelations. Privacy chosen over profit. Dignity maintained over disclosure. Paul and June Verocci have never spoken publicly about what happened to their family. Never given interviews, never told their side, never sought vindication or revenge. Only silence. Marisa Verocci has never told her story. 27 years of protection, 27 years of silence. Her name finally public as of 2024, but her voice still absent. What she knows, she keeps. The Kennedy curse continues. 5 more deaths since Michael, John Jr., Mary Richardson Kennedy, Sarsa Kennedy Hill, Maeve Kennedy McKean and her son Gideon. The pattern repeats. Privilege meets pressure. Warnings become irrelevant. Consequences delayed until unavoidable. What did Michael Kennedy do that made a 19-year-old choose silence over justice? Here's what I found. Reported relationship with the family babysitter. 10-week investigation. Allegations of statutory rape. Destroyed letters that could have established a timeline. Refusal to testify. Charges never filed. Case dismissed. But beneath that question was a deeper one. What does it cost to be born into a family where everyone watches you die? Michael Kennedy was 5 years old when his uncle President John F. Kennedy was assassinated. Watched the funeral on television. Saw the cameras. Saw the horse-drawn caisson. Saw Jackie in black holding the children's hands. Saw the world watching Kennedy grief. Michael was 10 years old when his father, Robert F. Kennedy, was assassinated. Attended the funeral at St. Patrick's Cathedral. Rode the train to Arlington. Watched crowds line the tracks. Thousands weeping. Cameras everywhere. Expectations forming. Kennedy's sons must continue the work. Must serve. Must prove they deserve the name. Michael tried. Ran Citizens Energy. Helped the poor. As the organization documented, built institutions, fought gun violence, managed campaigns, served for 11 years. But service became permission. Permission became justification, and what was investigated cost more than all the good works could balance. The heating oil delivered does not erase what was reported. The university built does not erase what was investigated. The solar panels installed do not resolve the allegations. Good works and serious allegations exist simultaneously. The question is not whether one cancels the other. The question is what we choose to remember, what we choose to hide, what we let institutions obscure about the men who built them. Michael Kennedy is buried at Holyhood Cemetery in Brookline, Massachusetts, near his father, near his uncle, in the family plot where Kennedys rest. His gravestone is simple. Name and dates: February the 27th, 1958 to December 31st. 1997, 39 years distilled to 2 numbers. Nothing else. No epitaph. No summary. No explanation of who he was or what he cost. Just like Vincent Astor's gravestone. Just silence. But Vincent Astor's widow Brooke is buried beside him. Her gravestone says something different. 10 words. I had a wonderful life. 105 years distilled to 1 sentence. An answer, a statement, a conclusion. I'll never know if Michael Kennedy had a wonderful life. Never know if he was happy during those 11 years running Citizens Energy. Never know if he felt joy with his children. Never know if he felt remorse in those final 3 months alone in Cohasset. Never know if he saw the tree coming on Aspen Mountain. Never know if he thought in that final moment he could avoid it. These answers died with him, or were destroyed by him, or are protected by those who choose silence. But this is what I know. The cost: Citizens Energy opens its doors every morning. The poor receive heating oil. Families get medications at reduced prices. Solar panels generate electricity for 12,000 households in California. The work continues. Marisa Verocci keeps her silence. 27 years of questions unanswered. 27 years of truth untold, her protection chosen, her privacy maintained, her story still hers. Victoria Gifford Kennedy maintains her dignity. No interviews, no tell-all books, no public vindication sought. 27 years of carrying knowledge alone, 27 years of choosing silence over disclosure. The tree that killed Michael Kennedy still stands on Aspen Mountain, Copper Bowl Run. Intermediate difficulty. Skiers pass it every day. Most do not know. Most do not notice. Just another tree on a ski slope in Colorado. But it is the tree that proved warnings apply to everyone, that physics does not recognize privilege, that momentum does not grant exceptions, that no name, not even Kennedy, can stop consequence. What Michael Kennedy cost, a family's shattered trust, a mother's mental health crisis, a father's betrayed friendship, a woman's silence that protects but also isolates, a wife's dignity maintained through years alone, a cousin cut off for refusing to participate, 3 children who lost their father, 1 life ended by refusal to accept limits, total cost incalculable. The questions remain, the silence remains, the cost remains. The tree doesn't move, but neither does what people carry after the cameras leave. That's the real cost, and it outlives everyone.